This Sunday. Every Sunday, side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Garino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here, relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gasp at mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands for the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Garino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. Sunday!
You may not be able to make it. You could break it or fake it if you want to, because you've tuned into Long Island's only automotive car show, Motormouth Radio, with your hosts, Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. Here we are again. Chris, to do a rousing... What are you shaking your head for? You got flies going around you?
What are you playing? The Bay City Rollers? Who's that?
That's Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Oh.
That was Paul Revere and the Raiders from sometime in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some distant time in the 60s. Wow. I didn't know what that was.
I know. Wow.
Yeah. If it's not the hit, I don't know.
I know. Well, that was kind of big back then. That was a big to-do back then. It was a yeehaw, what are we doing kind of, you know.
What was the name of that little ditty?
Mr. Sun, Mr. Moon. Just like they sang.
Yeah, I've seen it on I remember seeing the title on like a Hot 100 list. But I don't recall the song.
Let's see. Very 60s, right?
Oh yeah.
Got the harpsichord in the back.
Almost has like a 70s little vibe to it going on.
Like the Partridge Family, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh. And then we have the transitional coda here. Yeah, fun stuff. Older music is great. Just like older people are a lot of fun to hang out with. You youngsters, you'll find out you'll learn a lot from us oldsters. Old music is kind of cool too, because you see stuff kind of that came and went, and things that you say, wow, when did they ever think of doing that? There's a lot to be said for that. I'm a big fan. That's one of my hobbies, big passions in life. So anyway,
yes, collecting music, collecting audio.
Yeah, and then playing it. So was the week fruitful for you automotively this past week, or was it another dud?
Well, let's put it this way. Just yesterday, I was vacuuming out one of my cars.
Yeah, and
I ran into a mouse nest.
Oh, really? Did it hurt?
Yeah. Well, I had to laugh because it wasn't the car you would think it would be. It wasn't the Chrysler.
Yeah.
Although I think there was a lot of things living in the Chrysler at some point of its life. I told you when I first bought the car, it had acorns everywhere.
Oh,
everywhere.
Yeah.
They were literally, it was like a cartoon when I first started it up. Acorns went flying out of the tailpipe.
Right.
All over the driveway. It was comical. And I'm sure there's still some baked in a muffler or two. No, actually, no, there won't be, because I put duals on it. So no, I stand corrected. There are no acorns left in the exhaust system. But anyway, I digress. Just yesterday, I was vacuuming out the tracker, and I noticed this barnyard smell in the back of the car. I'm like, yeah. Well, mind you, I took it one step further. When I first purchased this thing, someone who owned it before me had spilled latex paint on the back of the rear seat. Like they had the rear seat folded down and a can of latex paint on it. Well, that spilled all over the carpet, ran all down the edge of the seat, ran all into the back and onto the gray carpet on the floor of the truck. So I was trying to clean it, and mind you, it does not come out. I've tried everything. Of course, it was dry. Obviously, whoever did this just allowed it to dry onto the carpet.
All right,
so now it's impossible to get it out.
Last time you told this story, somebody called. So let's keep that drying while we go to the phones and say, "Hi, caller, you're on with the Motor Mouths. You have a paint story?"
Yeah, I'm calling for a different reason. You guys know about Fiat Spider?
I do, yes. I own one. Who are we speaking to?
1979.
Right.
I have for about 6 months that I haven't started.
Okay.
Now I try to start it, doesn't go. What do you think? I got gas and everything.
Okay. Well, first of all, who are we speaking to? What's your name?
My name is John Montemali.
Okay, John.
Hi, John.
Monkey.
Oh, yeah, Rita's husband.
Yeah.
Got it.
Hi, John.
Okay. It hasn't started in 6 months. Okay, so it cranks over. The battery is good, yes?
Oh, battery is good. It's going to start, doesn't start.
Okay.
I put some spray to start it. I put a little gasoline in the carburetor, but not it's going.
And it's not going. Okay, you need to determine what you have and what you don't have. So you need to have, obviously, compression. You need fuel. You need spark. And you need bang. So if usually when you hit it with some ether, it'll induce it to fire if you have spark. Yeah. So maybe you're missing out on the spark part.
Yep.
You may not have ignition.
Spark.
You think I should change the spark plugs?
Well, no, not the plugs themselves. I would take a wire, or you could take a spark plug out, put the wire back on it, and then hold that spark plug about a half inch, by the engine, and then have someone crank the engine and see if the plug sparks. And if it does spark, then you have to look at the color of the spark, see if it's hotter, or weak. If there's no spark, then you have to go look down. You have to troubleshoot. Is it an ignition coil? That car in '79 has a GM 4-pin module that's on the a GM 4-pin module on the fender well, on the right side fender well where the ignition coil is. Right under that, you'll see this 4-pin module. That's a big source of failure. But readily available now because you just need a GM part. And then it's electronic distributors, a reluctor, and magnetic pickup. I had problems with mine years ago. I changed it, but you have to go step by step. Is what you need to do. So see if you have spark. I think you may not have spark.
What happened was that I was leaking gas from the hose that going into the motor, the fuel pump was the hose from the fuel pump going to the engine. It broke.
Okay.
So I replaced that.
Sure.
Maybe there was no gas for a little while, and now maybe it doesn't go. I don't know. Maybe that's what I think.
No, I mean, when you replace the hose, that's a standard thing to do. As soon as you crank the engine and the pump works again, it'll supply fuel up to the carburetor.
Okay. I keep on pushing gas in there. Usually started right away.
Right.
Now this time it doesn't start. I don't know.
That's why I think something else is maybe amiss over there.
Or you could have poured too much gas into the carburetor, and now the chambers are flooded. Whereupon, like what Ray says, you will have to pull not just one plug, pull them all, let it all air out, and then and while you're checking for spark, would probably be a good idea to do that as well.
Yeah, check the spark, see where it's going.
That's what I think. I think it's a spark, probably a spark issue, John. Yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to call, and we'll be happy to help you.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good show.
Okay, John. Thanks. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Be safe. Thanks for the call, John.
That's
awesome.
Rita Monti's husband. Rita from Parfumo d'Italiano. Does
yes,
the Italian show.
I remember Rita talking about that Fiat.
Yes,
that's true.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. 516-572-7440. I haven't said that number in a while.
No.
But you just to say, yeah, I found a kind of like that paint that was all over the back seat just wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
So I tried everything. And I even took the back carpet out, the cargo carpet, took that out and stuck it in water. Just let the paint soften up on the carpet.
Yeah.
Obviously during the summer. And it still wouldn't come out. I scrubbed it with everything, even a wire brush.
Right.
Wouldn't all come out. So I bucked up and called a guy who had one in the middle of New York State that had the right seat pattern. And I just asked him, I said, look, want to sell the back portion of your rear seat?
Oh.
And he said, yeah. He says, and I said, while you're at it, throw the cargo carpet in there. And he went, yeah, sure. So he did. And I got them delivered yesterday, and I couldn't wait to swap them out.
Yeah.
Because it just looked awful. It just with paint spillage everywhere, it just looked awful. So I swapped out, as I was swapping out the rear seat back and the cargo carpet, I was vacuuming it all out, getting all the crud out of there, and I noticed the smell, and I'm like, what is that barnyard smell? So sure enough, there's a little access panel on the driver's side. You open it up, and that's where the jack is and the jack stand, all that stuff. And I saw this little puff of something in the corner there, and I went, that's it. So,
yeah, it's either a ham sandwich from 78 or a mouse. Yeah.
I went and got the long nose pliers and a paper bag, and I just started feeding stuff. I didn't want to touch this.
Yeah.
So I started grabbing. Then I had to actually pop the speaker out because there was a speaker there. I had to pop that out to get the rest of it and to vacuum it all out.
Yeah,
and move on with my day. But it was just like I'm in the back going, why didn't I ever smell this before?
Right.
Where did this come from? Was this from the old owner? I mean, because I'm thinking to myself, cars in the garage. The way that nest was, it was a big nest. I'm thinking there'd be a lot of mice running in and out.
Well,
you can't miss that.
You are in the Mouseketeer state, so it's very possible.
Well, that's true. That's true. I always say every day up here, I fight nature. Yeah. I fight nature every single day in this house.
While you were fighting nature and the mouse population, we were doing some real car work down here on Long Island. Let me tell you.
Tell us. Tell me. Legitimize this program for once.
You'll be happy to know that Kilowatt Kevin got his car over on Mike's behest over to Celebrity Chase Collision yesterday morning, and Steve, one of our regular listeners, spent a good part of the day aligning that front end for him, getting all the panels as close as they could possibly be.
Hey, that's awesome.
Right. And you know that, with a car that age, where parts may have been changed and all sorts of, you're probably never going to get it.
No.
Like, Chip Foose perfect. It ain't going to happen. No. In fact, when Foose does that, it's like hundreds of hours of metalwork. But
believe me, if Kevin came up to my Chrysler and he could be pointing around it all day long at all the mismatched panels on my car, believe me.
Right.
I've tried. And I've ruined the paint in some corners.
Yeah.
Trying.
Well, so this is much, much, much better. Steve did a great job. Kevin's very happy, and Nicole is looking good. And when I'll post this stuff up on social media, of course,
see it.
On Facebook and X, it's Motormouth Radio. On Instagram, it's real_Motormouth Radio, and we'll also be on Motormouth Video if you go on YouTube, but you have to go to real_Motormouth Video to find that channel on YouTube. And you'll see the pictures. I'll put some shots up of Kevin's car. It looks great. Looks really good.
I would love to see it. I'm looking forward to it because it's I guess you could say I'm a jerk about it.
We talked about that yesterday at length. Yeah, we did.
I'm glad.
And someone said, bring Chris down here. Let's take a look at his garbage. Let's see what
I'll be the first one. Go ahead. I've aligned what I could.
Yeah.
I've aligned what I could.
Sure.
And to me, when you're aligning, like, let's say a hood to the fenders and the bumper, sometimes that's the easiest because all there are just two, what would you say, threaded, rubber-topped bolts.
The stoppers,
Yeah, you move up and down to align the hood to the fenders. Easiest job. I can't tell you how many times I've had to put like some sort of liquid wrench or some sort of anti-seize, just whatever. I mean, some liquid penetrant, I should say, just to loosen them because they've never been moved.
No, they don't.
You have to pop the rubber top off it, grab it with a pair of vice grips.
Yes, exactly.
Start wiggling the heck out of it because no one ever took it upon themselves to actually use these things. So
you're right.
I've done that. I've aligned those things perfectly on my car, but I got a door up against the fender on the driver's side that makes me crazy.
Yeah,
because it's not aligned right, and for some reason I just can't do it. I've actually had that door in my hand and still couldn't align it right. So. I tip my hat to Steve for actually doing it without marring the paint. I would hope he's professional enough to do that. But I mean, I've tried. I've gotten most of the panels right, but not all of them. So when you see a car like that, it now looks like one piece. That's what you mentioned, Chip Foose. That's what I loved about Chip Foose. When you see his work, everything, a car looks like one block of metal. It doesn't look like an assemblage of parts just thrown together. Well, I'm saying you want to avoid that at all possible. And I would just look at pictures of some of the cars, and that's the first thing I would do. I'd go, that's out of alignment. That's out of alignment.
I can tell you this: one of the fellows we have up here, Caesar. I went to his shop with Rick and with Cliff, and he's got a couple cars that he had built for himself that are Kindig cars, and it's the first time I saw one in person in front of me. And when you look at that, the statements you just made all come to fruition in metal, and you literally can't say anything. You don't know. I didn't know what to say, but when I lipped some drool, I was like, this is beautiful. Like, this car is art. It really is a piece of art. And that's what he said. Well, that's why when you get bills of, install right front fender, and this, install, uninstall, RNI, like, 50 times, metalwork, massage bondo. It was like, 800 hours, whatever, in a week, and like send me $3,000, and then we'll go on to the next one, and then we'll look at, every piece gets done like that. So, very, very nice. But then we went back, Kevin came over and met me at the other shop. I was over there working on the 442.
Oh, okay.
I was going to put the gas tank back in. And I tell you something, Chris, gas tanks and me, I don't know, they never go back in the way they came out. They're always harder to go back in, even if it's the original one.
It sounds like a personal problem.
I know. So we fought with that a little bit. But the other thing was, while I was waiting,
that's what you need more salve.
I was waiting for the guy to deliver a roll of hose, so I could, put a piece of hose on it. So I said, okay, let me do something else. I had, motor mounts and a transmission mount to do, and the motor mounts aren't getting done till the headers come off. So
neither are we.
So I said, no, let me do
motor mounts aren't getting done either.
No, I said, let me do the transmission mount. Right? How hard is that?
Right.
So jack up the tranny, screw jack, get the mount out. And I had the wherewithal to take the bolts that go through the cross member into the mount and made sure they threaded into the new mount.
Good idea.
Because I had the problem with my car, my Pontiac, when I was restoring it. I bought new motor mounts. I've told this story. And I went to install them on the car. And I had the factory bolts. And those are the bolts that have that pointed end on them that leads into the nut.
Right. It's not a flat end. It's got a pointed end, so it does thread in.
I couldn't get this thing to start. I couldn't get it to start at all. I tried on the other. No, why? Because one of the motor mounts, the nut was metric, and the other motor mount, the nut was the wrong. Put them in the box, took them back, and said, "Give me my money back." And Kevin and I happened to be out at a guy's place. We were buying some parts from him, and I saw an engine on the stand, and I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Well, it's the engine. I'm going to rebuild it for my car." I said, "What are you doing with the motor mounts? You going to change those too?" He goes, "Oh yeah. I didn't take them off the motor." I said, "Do you want to sell them?" And he says, "Sell them?" He goes, "They're old. I'm going to throw them out." I'm like, "Yeah, but they look like they're in pretty good shape." He goes, "Oh, they're usable." I said, "Want to sell them?" He goes, "What do you give me?" So I'll give you $20. And I did. I gave him $20 for the used motor mounts, and that's what's in my car right now.
That's what's in your car now.
Because they fit and they worked. So what happened with the transmission mount of the olds, you say?
What happened with the transmission mount in the olds, I say?
I'm glad you asked. The bolts fit into the threads. Then I go to bolt it to the tranny, and I put one of the 5/8 bolts in, and I look, and I can't get the other one in. Why? Because the mount is too short. The bolt spread was wrong.
Right.
I was like, it's the wrong freaking mount. It's a Turbo 400. They put these in everything that GM ever made, right? What I don't know what they sent, the Power Glide mount. I don't know what they sent. So
this is the problem that we are having. But as a generation,
right?
This is the problems that we are having because you remember the old days where, like you say, and a legit lament. You say it's a 400 transmission mount. They're everywhere.
Right.
But if you think about it, there's whomever put that thing in a box. Probably you have a wallet older than they are.
Yeah.
So
right,
they
right.
don't know. They don't, and it's not because they're stupid. It's just that they're not aware of those parts and that transmission.
Yeah. But there's more. No,
not aware of it.
But there's more. There's more because I happen to know the guy that this stuff got ordered through. And he's a good guy. He's an older guy at the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was boxed wrong. I think that somewhere along the line they put the wrong part in the right box, and the part number is probably correct, but it's the wrong part in the box. And that's the other side of the scale. So now that's sitting there now, dead in the water waiting for a mount. We'll get to it this week, I guess. So, there you go. There's all the stuff that you run into, though, real time when you're trying to work on a car. And I said, now, like you talk about it all the time. Well, what if you had to take that car out? What if I had to go? Yeah, you could bolt the old mount in. It's nice to be able to leave the cross member unbolted and out of place and take the screwdriver because the car isn't going anywhere. It's on the lift. It's living there. But like you had said many times, if that car had to go out for whatever reason, either to be parked outside or driven, taken wherever, you'd have to put the old one back in and then just do that job twice. Do it again.
And I had to do that with my wife's Mazda. I mean, take the top of the motor off more times than I wanted to because I had to get the right combination of parts to take care of that engine code that I had.
Sure.
And while waiting for the new parts to arrive.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And speaking of which, I had to change the serpentine belt on the Mazda. And I went and got the long serpentine belt idler pulley tool.
Yeah, you're going to go to Harbor Freight, right?
Went to Harbor Freight, $20.
Okay.
Great, wonderful tool.
Okay.
The only bad thing was that the tool was, how can I say this without smiling? Ray?
Yeah.
My tool was too long.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting conundrum to be in.
Isn't that a problem that everybody should have, right?
Yeah. Well, did you wax some length off it?
I was thinking about it.
Oh, okay. You got to do something, right?
Here's what happened.
Yeah, what happened?
I was able to, with that breaker tool, I was able to get the old belt off.
Okay.
But because the new belt is not stretched, obviously, the new belt, when I brought the tool down, would hit the top of the radiator shroud.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't bringing the idler pulley to its full extent that I can hang the belt on it.
Yeah, gotcha.
It was just shy.
Was it you I was talking to or someone else about changing the idler pulley on their car? I think it might have been you.
I did. I actually replaced the idler pulley.
So there is a new idler pulley, and you still didn't have the range. Oh, okay.
So I go and research it.
Yeah.
And one guy who worked on this exact model vehicle actually cut a gouge in the radiator shroud.
Gave himself the clearance, Clarence. Right.
Clearance to bring that tool down into the gouge so he can hang the belt on it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not doing that.
No, the other thing is, I mean, I know you have the long tool and it's great for the leverage, but that's the time to go back in the box and get something that's shorter, like maybe a 2-foot breaker bar. Well,
here's what I did do.
Okay.
I have a socket-sized regular. What would you call it? It's just got the box itself that you could put the 3/8 box that you could put a socket on it.
It's a breaker bar.
But it's what?
A breaker bar.
It's like a breaker bar, but it's very small. It's like, a foot long.
They come different lengths. Sure.
Yeah. So I have, I guess you could say, the smallest one.
Yeah.
So what I did was, because I had no leverage, I clamped on a pair of vice grips to it.
Okay.
So now I got it about 2 feet long.
All right. Well, you could use a piece of pipe,
Yeah, that's true. I didn't have anything like that in front of me. So what I did was I used the vice grips, clamped it on there, fit that into the idler pulley notch, and then I was able to swing that down as under the radiator shroud.
Okay.
And that gave me the clearance.
Good. Yeah, you went to a shorter tool. Yeah, that's what you got to do. And that's why mechanics have arsenals of tools. You know, speaking of that, we kind of finished up yesterday. We were sitting there in the shop, and a pickup truck pulls in, and Kevin says, guy probably wants something, sorry, buddy, we're closed. Meanwhile, all the bay doors are open, And the guy comes in with speaking of this thick Southern accent. Not as thick as somebody else we know, but thick. And he was a mobile tool guy, and he had his pickup truck filled with tools. Oh. And he says, man, I want to sell you some tools. I was like, listen, dude, I said, I got more tools. I'm going to sell you some tools in a minute, Right. He said, I just want to talk to you for a minute. And it was funny because I just spoke to Brian maybe an hour earlier. I said, well, I was just talking to my mobile tool guy on the phone, even though he's not, mobile here. I said, but, so I'm just trying to see what this guy is doing, So if I said, well, come on out to the truck. I'm like, oh boy. So,
here we go.
So we go out.
The games begin.
And he had a pickup truck with the tonneau cover up, and his back of his bed was filled with tools. And Kevin's like, oh my God, what kind of springs do you have in this truck,
Yeah, I mean, it's not hunkered down.
Well, I'll tell you, this guy was shucking and jiving, telling me he's got, and I walked up to the back, and I just did an overview glance. And in 2 seconds, my mind knew, okay, he's like a second, third, fourth level tool dealer. Like some of the guys I see online sell really good stuff. They'll be selling Vim, and they're selling Milwaukee, and they're selling some of the other really good brands that are out there. This guy it was kind of like the Harbor Freight version, and I'm sure he had great prices. We didn't get that far because then I said to him, I said, listen,
you didn't?
I said, I really got everything I need right now, which of course I don't. Nobody ever does. I said,
when did the insults begin?
He was a pro. I would ask him a question about something, and he would just keep talking about something else. Like he was trying to sell.
Right.
Finally, after about 5 minutes of this, and Kevin wasn't having any of it either, I said, all right, I'm done. I said, why don't you go to the other shop? We have another shop. Why don't you go down to that one and see if those are all body guys down there. They have he goes, well, you need a lockout toolkit? I said, no, I don't, because the body guys have it, and I use theirs. I was deflecting. I was like Wonder Woman. Bullets were flying, man. Everything he threw at me, I was deflecting. But I sent them down. I give him credit
I'm just
for
picturing
trying.
you in the Wonder Woman suit. It's not pretty.
Yeah, I tell you, I give him credit for trying. And Kevin and I were talking. It's a tough business going shop to hawk tools.
Oh my gosh,
but it's even tougher when you go into shops where guys use top line tools, and he's selling kind of the third line tools. It's like, if I needed something. Like the reason you would go to Harbor Freight for something that that you're not gonna use all the time. You usually say to yourself, "Hey, look, if it breaks or I lose it, who cares?" Big deal. That's kind of the mentality you have to have from buying the stuff that he had on his truck. It's like, if it breaks or I lose it, all right, I need it once, and that's okay. So
exactly, totally understand.
But he's from Georgia.
No pride in half of the tools I own.
I said to him, I said, I'm thinking of a relocation down in North Carolina. Yeah, I'm from Georgia. It's like, hey, I know somebody from Georgia. I said, you guys are tough. I said, he still ain't buying any of your crappy tools, though. So you got any moonshine in that truck?
Got any cigarettes?
He did. Yeah. Got any ammo? He did not have any moonshine ammo or anything else on the truck. So I couldn't spend any money with them. But what I can spend with you is the bottom of the hour break that we have every week.
Oh, nice.
So let me tell you that first we talk about the weather. That's all we've been talking about is the weather. And this forecast is powered by Pantano's Gourmet with locations in Hewlett and Uniondale. Today, it was cloudy a little bit in the morning. They said chance of showers. That's later. Right now, I look out WHPC weather window. Hold on.
What do you see?
It is cloudy. It's a little cloudy, but I can see some blue sky. So it's half and half. It's kind of menza. It's beautiful right now. It was in the 80s on the way in to the station. They say this afternoon we have some spotty showers around 3:30, and then partly cloudy early tonight with increasing clouds with increasing dark, which will lead to more periods of lightness in the morning. That's what they say, at least.
Yes, very clever. Yes.
It is, right? And also, I have to ask you if you're a proud member of the NCC, Nassau Community College alumni. And if you are, or if you aren't, you can find out more about the Nassau Community College Alumni Association by visiting ncc.edu/Guns N' Roses. No, /alumni. So, sorry, I couldn't help it.
Well, I am an alumni of the radio station, I guess you could say.
Yes, you are.
I'm an avid teacher of radio throughout the years.
You taught me. So now, when everybody, when you want to know what happened to me, there he is, right there. Go find him. All right, there you go. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Chris. Thank you. So,
yes, you are. I am your radio father.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. That's very true. Now go do the dishes and rake the lawn. Do we have it on a group of the hour?
I'm afraid we do, right here on this fine, upstanding Sunday at Motormouth Radio. We do. And this week, obviously, we honor all kinds of groups of people automotively. And this week, those who pride themselves on knowing how to squeeze into a parallel parking spot.
Yeah.
With everyone pulling in and out of parking spots at mega malls and shopping centers, you have no fear of parking bumper to bumper, right in the street. That's where the real talent lies. Do you thumb your nose at late model parking gizmos like confounded parking cameras or annoying warning beepers? Can you still assume the position with your hand on the passenger seat and your body somewhere twisted so to look out the rear window to gauge the distance to the car behind you without letting out a grunt noise or suffering a sharp pain in the back? Well, if you still have the fortitude to swing a vehicle between two parked cars in a street without busting a taillight, suffering some premium wheel curb rash, or knocking innocent bystanders off the sidewalk, then you are part of the Motormouth Radio on the Group of the Hour this week.
That's a good one. And I tell you what, when we come back, I'm going to tell you a little story about how I think I may be becoming a convert and going over to maybe the dark side a little bit. I'm going to tell you about that when we come back.
So we have to gather around the campfire?
Yeah.
Put the guitar aside? No more singing Kumbaya?
Well, you can sing until we come back, and then we're gonna do that. Yeah, but yeah, you'll. Nice. And it has to deal with new vehicle choices. So yeah, you kind of know what my vehicle choices are, but I'm going to tell you, I'm kind of going the other way right now, and I'm going to tell you about it when we come back.
Well, I got to admit, out of all of the things that you and I disagree on, and there are.
Yes, there are.
It's surprising that we get along so well.
Amazingly, yes.
My mind is boggled.
Yeah.
Because your dark side is my, what would you say? My more intelligent light side.
All right. Well, if you want, yeah.
So I'm very interested in what you have to tell me.
All right, so that's it. So stay tuned so you can find out where my dark side is going with more Motormouth Radio on this fine station. Right now, we're going to hear a song that's actually a Quentin Tarantino edit, which is kind of cool. I thought that was really pretty neat because I'm a big fan of his. And we'll be back with more Motormouth Radio. Chris Switzer, Ray Guarino, 90.3 WHPC. Let's hit it, Quentin.
We'll be back with answers to your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440. Oh, I should have said the Motormouth thing.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services, 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar Lifetime Nationwide Warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
You're listening to the Motor Mouths.
What are we talking about? This is a car show.
Finally, I got through after 2.5 weeks.
Thanks a lot, guys. You're the best, man.
Motor Mouth.
Is this the radio program where automotive enthusiasts can be spoken down to?
Are we on the air now? I turned on PMN and I heard you guys on there.
Motor Mouth.
You guys are really getting around, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's great. You guys handle it pretty well, too. I just was listening through the computer.
On the download, the motormouthradio.com website.
I did get to see the GTO.
Motor Mouth.
You know, I didn't know if it really existed or not, or if it was a figment of Ray's imagination. No problem. Great show, guys. I've been listening to you guys for many years. Love your show, and this is about the 5th time I've actually got the nerve up to call.
Our trained staff of 2 will help.
Well, you guys are the tech experts, not me.
Is it the jerk who, like all the other jerks who listen to this show?
You guys are so easy to play along.
Quite frankly, there are better things to do with your time.
This was wonderful. I think it's the second time I've ever been on a radio, and I'm liking it.
Yeah, I want to know what the is wrong with my car.
You guys are hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like I need to talk to an attorney and a policeman when I talk to you guys.
Motor Mouth.
I listen to Car Talk as well.
Try to beer. Sounds like a lot of fun.
You know, like after calling you guys, I'm probably going to blow out another brake line or two in the next week.
There are answers, sometimes correct ones, and we may have them.
Motor Mouth Radio, 90.3 FM, WHPC.
Motor Mouth.
Hey, you, get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the Motor Mouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
Yeah, you really don't need us. We just keep you hanging on. And some of you keep coming back. So as long as you're coming back, we'll keep you hanging on, and then we'll do that. And you know what? Isaac from Arizona said, hearing Chassis John is one of the highlights of his week. When I play that little drop from John, I happen to agree.
Yes, it tips our hat to a friend who is well missed.
Yes, we did something. This is just a little outside of what I was teasing before. We made history. I think we made some. Well, in our group, we made a little bit of internet kind of history. Thursday night, we're doing Playing Traffic, right?
Right. So I saw a little bit of it. I saw a tail end of it.
Yeah. And the the Republican there, the RNC
shook my head a lot. Shook my head a lot.
Sure. So the RNC was on. They were doing their thing, and Brian was watching a little bit. We signed off, and then each of us wanted to see, Isaac and Brian and myself wanted to see what was going on. So we all kind of switched on our TVs. We watched TV together while we were on the meeting together. So we're all sitting there watching our TVs, and the thing we found out was Brian and I had about the same, the feed about the same time. We're both East Coast, but right. Isaac in Arizona was like a minute or more behind.
Oh, wow.
It was a lag. So I said, yeah, they put you guys on delay because they know how you Arizonans are. But it was funny because they would say something that was good or funny, and then we would like drop it on like, oh, well, you'll hear about that in about a minute. Don't worry. So I was asking Brian to pass the popcorn and all the funny things. So it was kind of funny. We just sat and watched TV.
Together.
When have you ever done that with your buddies on a computer?
No, never. And speaking of which, I saw Isaac had a Motormouth Radio T-shirt. I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah.
I was like, where'd you get that from?
That was a while ago. I think I told you I was cleaning out one of the closets and found some of the old shirts. Didn't have many, but he had asked one, so I sent him out one. I said, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. That was pretty cool. So
that was awesome.
That was a history. But wow.
Very cool. Just to let you know, we're open for if your thumbs are still operating, you can text us here at Motormouth Radio 203-670-4127. I always say be like Matt Man Brian.
Right. Exactly. So let me tell you what's changed me automotively.
Oh, gosh. Finally come to your senses, whatever it is. I don't know what it is.
I've said this for a while where my wife is concerned, but, I kind of like it too. This week, we had 2 gas tanks out at Bill Carberry's shop, right? We had the one from the 442 and the one from the Colony Park wagon.
Oh, right, the wagon, yes.
So it was time for them to be picked up. So Mike asked me, he says, listen, would you mind running out and picking up the gas tanks? So I instantly became Arnie Cunningham. Now I'm Arnie Cunningham because, yesterday I was. So Friday, he says, why don't you do this?
Did you have a blue 74 Caddy Coupe de Ville? It took a second to think to associate the name with the car.
Oh, okay.
Movie.
I thought the car was red. I thought that Caddy was red. Well, whatever. Okay.
No, the main car was red.
Well, I know that. No. Scrap the Caddy.
Right.
Claude.
Blue, white top, white guy.
So Mike says to me, why don't we do this? Take my truck and, pick the tanks up and keep my truck overnight. I'll keep yours. He hung on to the FJ. He says, and then Saturday, we'll meet back at the shop and we'll make the exchange again and all that. And I said, okay, that's good. That's fine. We can do that. So Kevin and I did. We took Mike's truck. It's the new Maverick that he has.
Oh,
and the Maverick.
It's a new Ford pickup truck.
And it's a new Ford hybrid pickup truck.
Oh, really?
So let me tell you something.
Oh, okay.
I've always said my wife is the typical hybrid driver. She should have the hybrid. They designed them for her. Well, the truck had like 3/4 of a tank of gas in it. And as we drove, that needle didn't move. But you can see there's another needle that you think is a tack, but it shows you going from engine power to battery power. So as you let off the gas, you can get into the green. So you really start playing with driving, to keep it in the green. Regenerative braking. Let me tell you something. We ended up taking Ocean Parkway out, but we got stuck out by the salt shack. The troopers had the roads shut down. We literally had to get off the road, come all the way back to the Wantor Parkway to take Sunrise Highway all the way out to Islip. I mean, it was a total. And we were in traffic, sitting there doing nothing, and we had the AC on. Still, we made that whole trip, came back, made another stop in Massapequa. That night, I took my wife out for a quick little drive just to show her what was going on. And it's funny. I said, we get in the truck. I said, all right, here you go. I said, I'll start it. It has a key. You put the key in the ignition, and you turn it to start.
Right.
And then you get a display that says, okay, ready to drive. So she's like, what? What happened? Oh, we ready? I'm like, what? She goes, I didn't hear anything. I said, you won't. I put it in drive and we took off. I don't know why you have to do this thing. It's like simulating starting, but it's silent. There's no noise. Mm-hmm. I could see myself having one of these trucks. This thing didn't use any gas, and it was comfortable, very comfortable to drive. It's a smaller size. The Maverick isn't a big pickup, but I don't need a big pickup anyway. I'm even talking about the cars. I think a car would be, beneficial. So I've crossed over to that hybrid, not the EV side, but to the hybrid side. And it really took driving one. The brakes were the most phenomenally responsive brakes I've felt in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Not even the F1 car I drove had better brakes than this. Let me tell you. Yeah, something to be checked out. And I think it's going to be in the future.
I believe it. I'm with you 100% on it. And we agreeing on this is monumental in itself. But my cousin, Pat and Gladdy, have a Ford Fusion.
Okay.
A 2021, I think it is.
Right.
And I have driven that car with the same impression that you have. It drove really well. It was fairly quick. It was surprisingly quick for what it is. And yeah, it was comfortable. The brakes were great. Watching the gauge as well, keeping it in the green. It was an event. And yes, I can agree with you too. I have a wife that probably does the same sort of commuting and driving as yours. Everything around here is 10 or 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
So you're always going 10 or 15 minutes in the vehicle, shutting it off, starting it up, and coming 10 or 15 minutes back. It's always the case. No matter where we are in a 360-degree range, you can find everything you need here within 15, 20 minutes tops. So, yeah, is that good for a regular internal combustion engine? Not really. You're still keeping it cold all the time. I mean, it does warm up, but it's not. You got to get them on the highway every once in a while. Not so with a hybrid. So yes, I can agree with you. I think we both, our wives both do have the same driving lifestyle.
I mean, I could use it too, and I want to look into this because Kevin and I were talking yesterday. We looked it over and said, I know that the EVs have specific tires that are designed for the higher mileage and all. And if you don't replace,
because they weigh so much, the EV weighs almost double the amount of a regular car.
If you don't replace them with the specifically rated tires, you won't get the range that you would get. Now, I wonder if the hybrids also have. It didn't look like anything special to me that I was seeing. I wonder if they do. I don't know. Things I want to look into that I'm not aware of. So, but I was really surprised. I will say the only thing I can't agree with, because I really didn't test it, was this thing didn't feel overly peppy to me. But I wasn't really hitting that gas hard. I found myself trying to really be conservative, go the other way. And I used cruise control on the highway, set it at 60 and just kind of cruised, and that was that. Whereas I could tell my FJ is a little more jumpy off the line. That car will, the FJ even being a big thing that it is a little more, aggressive off the line.
Right.
But other than that, I don't think I'd be, so even if I had to trade off the short entrance merge from Wanto Avenue onto the Southern State Parkway. You gotta be able to hit 60 in like 3 seconds. Even if I had to trade that off,
I know where you are.
For the other positives, I think it would be a worthwhile trade off. I really do. So
no, I agree with you. I think the thing that probably I would question is if you do eventually venture off the island, where you go and live someplace like you want, more remote. I'm not sure how a car like that or a truck like that will. I'm hoping that you're going to get like over 40 miles to a gallon and nothing will change.
I saw on the display there was a 38.5 mile per gallon number up there. That's probably Mike's average, and I think I can outmile Mike. I think I do, because I know his driving style, and I think and I said to him, because when I returned it to him, I came into the office yesterday morning, and I said, I had the keys. I said, all right, Arnie Cunningham reporting for duty, and kept like, what? I'm like, yeah, I got the boss's caddy outside with the parts in it. That's what I said. That's where that came in.
Yeah, exactly.
And
you had me there for a second. I'm like, Arnie Cunningham.
Yeah.
At first, I was thinking Richie Cunningham. No.
His cousin Arnie.
Cunningham. Christine.
Yeah,
yes.
Right. No,
he's a punch runner for Darnell.
I got Darnell's caddy. I don't know nothing about it. All of a sudden, he turned into a little milk toast. Meanwhile, he was Mr. Tough Guy. So let's go back to the phones here. Let's hit the button. Let's say hi. Caller, you're on with the Motor Mouths.
Ray, Chris, hey, it's Glenn.
What's up, Glenn? How are you?
Hey, Glenn.
I thought maybe you were thinking of an EV conversion on something.
No, thank you. No.
You'd have an extra gas motor laying around.
Well, maybe in the Fiat, that'd be a cool conversion. It's a small car. You wouldn't need a big battery. Yeah.
Could happen. But yeah, these new cars, I wouldn't know what to do. Or like you say, is it on?
Right.
Are we going?
Yeah, and you do kind of get used to it fast. But the thing that when I brought it back, and I was telling Mike my story, he said, "Wow," he goes, "I got to tell you, driving that FJ," he goes, "it's like being in a Hummer." And he's right, because it really is designed like a Hummer. Everything is big, flat, and square.
It's a bigger vehicle, taller.
But like I told him, I said, knowing that thing gets such atrocious gas mileage, I was very conscious of how I drive it, and I drive it very gently. And I found out just by coasting more, this is how the hybrid gets the better mileage. If you coast to the light, you see that thing going to green. Well, it works with a gas vehicle too. If you don't have regenerative braking, but if you brake a little later, because you've scrubbed those speed brakes. I actually got that. I've actually got 19 out of that FJ on the just combination driving, which is unheard of. The
bigger the vehicle, these sport utilities are never known for great gas mileage.
No.
Or my V8 Explorer, and you're expecting under 10.
Sure,
that's a given.
This thing is good for like 15, 16 all day. The FJ, if I drive it averagely, I have gotten it up a little higher. But so, like I said, I could do well with a hybrid, I think, because I'm already in that mindset. But whatever, it was a cool experiment. I was glad to have the opportunity to spend some time in it. Maybe next
drive.
maybe next time I go away, maybe that's where I'll look to rent. See if I could rent one. You know?
Right. You never know. It's always like, could I rent it, borrow it?
Right.
I would be apprehensive based on distance.
Well, it does have a gas. It does have a gas motor, Glenn, so you can fill it.
Okay.
Right.
It's a hybrid. It's not.
That's
It's not an EV. It's a hybrid.
It's got both.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I couldn't see traveling and then sitting at like a rest stop and like, what are we going to do here for a half plus or
right.
like 45 minutes
for a charge?
I would lose my mind. I'd be like, we got to get back on the road.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I know.
Glenn, that's my lament as well.
I know.
Is waiting to charge your EV.
Yeah, and I've seen folks doing it, and there's like 2 charging stations, and I don't even stop for gas most times. I just usually quick bite to eat or the restroom. And I'm like, they're still there.
I got to tell you, last 2 trips we made to North Carolina, I drove straight through. You know, it was like,
and
that's it.
You can do it.
Right.
Yeah, I usually stop to take a stretch break, whatever, quick break, or just get out of the car for a bit.
Yeah.
But
well, we had to stop for gas. So stopping for gas but it literally was like gas. You walk to and from the office, you're back in the car, you're driving again. It's like, that's it. We're going.
Yeah, I can't say that would be in my wheelhouse to have a strict EV, but you don't know what and all I could say is going forward, I hope we have choices no matter what. Like,
right.
Not, let's say,
we will.
EVs. Where,
we will.
I think we will, and we'll constantly mess with gas engines and trying to make them run better or fix them, like you're saying.
At least in our lifetime.
Yeah, I think the car makers know that right now the EV thing is not going to fly, and the way to go is the hybrid, which we already have, and develop that a little more. It's
no doubt,
without a doubt. So listen, did you get your windshield wipers working any better on the Camaro?
So it's funny, that video, those wipers haven't moved in 20 plus years or more.
Wow.
And I said, I got to fix this. And I did what I did, and I said, well, wait a second, I found a good forum, and I checked the motor, and I said, oh wow, the motor works. So I think I told you I tried to take the switch apart, and it's like that Bakelite material kind of came apart on me, and then it cracked it, and I said, I can't fix this.
No.
So I ordered another one, got it through Summit. I put it in, and it doesn't work. And I said, this stinks.
Huh.
Well, I never put any of the connectors back on the motor. Well, that was half of it. Yeah, under the hood.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I'm sitting there kicking myself. Oh, all that work for nothing. But so I do what I do, and I go back under the dash. Now the dash is messed up. Everything's cracked. It's old. So I connect it. I says, all right, now it should work. It doesn't work.
Oh.
So I brought a ground to the actual switch itself, not to the wiring.
Right.
I said, I don't think it needs to be grounded, but maybe.
To the body of the switch?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to ask you. I said, I don't know what was there. Can't recall. And underneath the dash looks pretty bad. Don't look under there. Just that point. So anyway, and sure enough, it worked. And that was that video I took. I said, whoa, I can't believe I got windshield wipers. Let's drive in the rain. But, well, fast forward, they're not working yet because I have to fix that whole portion. It's all cut up and broken.
Yeah.
And the attachment points, all they're gone.
Right.
So I either got to lay on my back and get under there and fix it right, or maybe modify it somehow. But when I brought the ground to the body of the switch is when it worked.
And the reason that works is because your switch mounts into a metal dash, and that's when the ground is made.
Right.
And I was wondering, I wonder if that was the case. So I was gonna take it all apart, and I said, you're getting into more than you need to do right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that because here and there, well, although it's been hot, I do like to drive the car. And,
right.
And then I said, well, let's wait on this.
Yeah.
So I know it works, so I'll get to it another day. Yeah. And I easily can then ground it. And
right.
Wow. I said, well, but anyway, and then cleaning up all my stuff, I found another wiper motor. I said, well, that's good to keep.
Oh, good.
Although my wife wants me to throw all this stuff out. And I said, no, we don't throw car parts out.
I know.
No, don't throw them out. Yeah. Especially for a car you currently have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I said, I have that wiper motor. And I said, I don't know where it came from. What, was it broken? Was it not? Who knows?
Well,
but
give it a test.
Eventually,
bench test.
I'll look at
put it on a bench.
Right. grab your little battery, connect it, make your own little wire connectors, and
sure.
Anyway, it's all stuff to fix. But I was pretty impressed. I said, I finally got one thing off my list. I said, not like that. I don't have a direction wherever that car is going. It's just going where it goes.
Yeah. You're following it.
Fix or replace.
You're following it through its life.
Yeah, and I'm not going to. It's not perfect. Like you were talking about aligned panels. I'm in that non-aligned club.
And it's kind of funny because both of your guys' cars are red, and the red is what attracts people looking at it. So you can look past other things because it doesn't have to be be. Yeah, your car looks great now with the new wheels. Glenn.
Yeah, the wheels make it.
Oh, phenomenal.
But you can put your fingers through some of the body panels. The gaps are so big. And who cares? Just drive it.
And I would rather go look at drivers all day long than show cars, because the drivers are the ones that are built and maintained by the owners. They're not the there's a story there.
You were talking about like a King did style build. I think I would be in awe of a true, like like you say, it's artwork. I don't think that would be the car for me. I would almost be like, well, what happens if I dent it or it gets messed up? I think I would be really. I'd say, no, take that back. I'll take the beater over there.
This car is a Camaro. So, you know what, Glenn? He's supposed to have an open house. It was supposed to be this summer. I thought it was supposed to happen already, and it hasn't, because I would have heard about it. But when it does, I'll let you know what the date is. And it's right up here. It's just right in, New Hyde Park.
Not far.
Take a drive up and check it out. It's got some nice cars, real nice stuff.
Well, it's always good seeing some cool stuff. I've been trying to follow what you're doing, or that night we went out. That was pretty cool, too.
Right. Yeah.
There's so much, great cars out there, great drivers,
there are
stuff that folks put together. These guys and ladies too, good builders, and
absolutely
good to see. So,
very good.
I just want to say what's up, and
okay,
I'm going to keep on doing my thing and enjoy the day, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, Glenn, talk to you soon, brother. Thanks.
Always a pleasure, Glenn.
All right, so long.
Be safe.
All right. That was
so. Joe the Undertaker just texted us at 203-670-4127. He was throwing his spin on the hybrids and the electric cars. He says he just heard tire and brake particles create more pollution than internal combustion engines. He said also a guy he knew tried to get a replacement battery for his hybrid. There weren't any in the country and had to get shipped from, looks like he said the shipping from another country, he didn't say where, would cost more than the new car.
Yeah, that's something you got to be afraid of. And he's right. Every day when you hit those brakes, there is more brake particulate. And I saw it when we went to Indiana. My buddy Chris and Mike and I went to Indiana to pick up his wagon project. Mm-hmm. We pulled into this truck stop, and I walked out, and my job was to clean the windshield on the truck. And a breeze came by, and what did I see? But this black cloud just came across, and it was rubber off of tires, probably from all these trucks that was out on the road. That goes up in the air, people breathe it, it's real.
Sure.
What else is real is the top of the hour again. You know what that means. Kim is here. She's going to do her show, Thunder Road, Best of Springsteen and the Band, and everybody can enjoy that. It means we got to get the heck out of here, and I'm going to go home and make some AC crimp connectors for my Pontiac.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
So for Chris Switzer, Ray Guarino, we'll be back next week with more Motor Mouth Radio. We may have Mr. Carl Anthony with us next week. We'll see. Chris, what do I tell the folks out in the parking lot?
Don't follow us home, especially if you have an EV.
Because I can outrun you in the FJ. Right. All right. See you next week. 90.3 WHPC. See ya.
Thank you both for listening. See you. Bye.
Bye.